Good morning, second graders. Today we are on page 215 of your student journal, and we are on Unit 12, Lesson 6. Our goal or our objective today is I will tell the difference between AM and PM. Okay, so boys and girls, what we're going to be doing today is we're still going to be working on time, but we're now going to talk about another part of time, which is this AM, PM part. So if you notice in our vocabulary, they remind us of two things, that 60 minutes equals 1 hour, and that there's 24 hours in one day. But then this is the part that we're really going to focus on today. AM says we think of as morning. This period lasts for 12 hours. So what happens is it goes from midnight. Midnight is when we're supposed to be asleep, and it ends at noon. Noon is like lunchtime. 12 o'clock noon is about lunchtime. So really, most of the AM time you're asleep. The part that you're awake for is when you wake up. You usually eat breakfast, brush your teeth, get dressed, get ready for school, and then it's that morning part of school, and then lunchtime is usually about noon, and that's when it ends. Okay, PM is we think of afternoon and evening. This period lasts for 12 hours. It's from noon to midnight. So it's about lunchtime till when you're asleep. So this would be the afternoon part of school, it would be after school, it would be all the rest of the evening at home into when you're asleep. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, I'm going to put down my green pen and grab my red if you want to just watch me do a couple of these. Here is my first problem, and it says, the clock shows the time Charlie goes to bed. Write the time in the digital clock and include AM or PM. Okay, so the first part of this problem is just what I've normally been doing. I'm just going to tell time. So remember when I tell time, I always start with my hour hand first. And my hour hand is my shorthand. So when I look at my short hour hand, what I notice is it's past the 8, but it didn't hit the 9 yet. So it passed 8, but it didn't reach 9, which means my hour is 8 o'clock. Okay, my minute hand is my long hand. And remember, for my minute hand, that's when I skip count by 5s. So I start at the 12 and go 5 at my 1, 10, 15. So my minutes is 15. Okay, so now that I've read my analog clock and wrote it digitally, now I have to add AM or PM. So let's think about this. Charlie goes to bed. AM means morning. And PM means afternoon and evening. So which one would make sense for Charlie to go to bed? At 8:15 in the morning or 8:15 in the afternoon or evening? I think in the evening, which would tell me it's PM. Okay, let's do another one, ladies and gentlemen. This one says, the clock shows the time Caitlin eats breakfast. Write the time in the digital clock and include AM or PM. Okay, so first I'm just going to tell the time from my analog clock. And what I notice is it's almost pointing to the 8, but it's not quite pointing to the 8. It's a little bit too short to get to the 8. It's past the 7 and almost at the 8, which means my hour is actually 7. Now for my minute, I look at my long hand and I skip count by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45. So my minutes is 45. So my time is 7:45. Okay, And now we have to decide, is it going to be AM or PM? And remember, AM is the morning, PM is the afternoon or evening. So when would Caitlin eat breakfast? Well, my kids love to have breakfast at dinner time, but that's not usually when people eat breakfast. People usually eat breakfast before they go to school on the weekdays or on the weekends before maybe they go to sports. So I'm going to say it should be AM. And the way I write it is A period M period. Okay, boys and girls, let's try some together. So I'm going to put down my red pen and grab my green pen, and we are on page 216. And let's do one of these. Here's our first one together. The clock shows the time school ends for Jack. Write the time in the digital clock and include AM or PM. Okay, so let's start with telling the time. We always look at our short hour hand. And it looks like it just passed the 2. But it did pass the 2, so we're going to say it's 2 o'clock. And our minute hand, we're going to say is 5, 10, 15 minutes. So our time is 2:15. Now we have to decide, is that going to be 2:15 a.m. or 2:15 p.m.? Well, let's see. It says the time school ends for Jack. So would school end in the morning, which is AM, or would school end in the PM, which is afternoon or evening? Well, school usually ends in the afternoon. So let's say it's going to be PM. Okay, let's look at one more, boys and girls. This one says, the clock shows what time Alicia finishes dinner. Write the time in the digital clock and include AM or PM. Okay, so let's look. So when we tell time, we always look at our short hour hand. And that one's a little tricky because it's so close to the 6, but it definitely didn't touch the 6 yet. So that means it passed the 5 and it was almost at the 6, but it didn't get there yet. So our hour's 5. Okay, now we have to do our minutes by skip counting by 5. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. 50. Okay, so our time is 5:50 digitally. And now we have to choose, are we going to choose AM morning or PM afternoon evening? So our question says, Alicia finishes dinner. So do you finish dinner in the morning or do you finish dinner in the afternoon evening? I finish dinner in the afternoon evening, so I'm going to say it's PM. I'm usually sleeping at 5:50 a.m. Okay, so boys and girls, I hope you feel good with that. You are going to have quite a few pages to try on your own. You're going to do page 217, 218, and then turn the page and do 219. Have a great day.